Good afternoon, everybody. Returning home from the Columbus Flea Market. I can't say I had a good day. I've had a few good weeks, and today is breaking my track record. It's kind of a longest story. I should probably tell the Cliff Notes version of it. Perhaps I shall. So, for starters, I woke up, my alarm got off, and somehow I went back to sleep. How much traffic comes through there? Today, not too much. And I guess I'll semi-get into that. Normally, there's a lot of traffic. Today's been the least I've seen in a few weeks. It's because it ended up raining. And it started out being foggy, and it was clouds and so on. So I woke up late. By the time I got out, it was at least an hour later than I thought I would have. I had allocated a permanent spot, so I wanted to be there on time, because the way the rule works in a lot of markets, and including Columbus Flea Market, is that you have to get there by 6:30. It was today. Different days have different times. If you're not there by 6:30, somebody can take your spot, even if you have a permanent spot. So I got there like 25 after 6, and it was super foggy for starters. So I figured I would get something to eat, chill out, and whatever. So I pull up, and somebody's at my spot, and they claim they had the spot for years and years and years. Yeah, this happens often, actually. The flea market administrations don't always get all this correct. And I've seen a lot of people get double spots, especially when it's handwritten. But this was done through a computer, so I really don't. Yes, you pay in advance. Oh yeah, you pay in advance. It has to be cash only. So there's nothing like a refund and so on. There's lots of silly terms like that and so on. So the woman immediately starts yelling at me. So I'm just like, hey, yo, chill out. I don't even know what's going on. So why don't we stop yelling and just talk about what happened? So the husband comes over. I guess it's the husband or a brother or something, a boyfriend, whatever. And he's like, this is my spot number. Look at my spot number. So I'm like, okay, relax. Let me find my thing. So I get my pass out. And it turns out it's not the same spot number. And the woman gave me the wrong spot number. However, there's two spots right next to each other. So I had the spot next to them. The problem with that is that there's a food truck next to it. So it's not really a valid spot. So I had asked for M26, and the woman actually ended up giving me M24, and it didn't dawn on me that she wrote the wrong number on it. So after 10 minutes of that, I was just like, all right, relax. I'm going to go to the office and find out what's going on. In the meantime, the spot just across from us was open. So the woman was like, by now it's 6:40 or something. So she's like, it's past 6:30. Go get the spot over there. So I was like, you're exactly right. So long story short is, I took that spot. Another guy, the two guys next to me ended up having an argument as well, because he pulled up and got the spot, and another guy wanted 2 spots. So all this kind of silliness happens all the time, and that's why it's worth being calm about it. It's easy to work out. I was entered into the thing at 6:30. If I was normally coming as a daily, I may not even get in till 7:30 or 8. So I was already an hour ahead of things. So if I couldn't get the spot that was mine, or the one next to it, or the one across from it, I was there an hour earlier, so I would have found some acceptable spot. As I said in other periscopes, the best spot is being there in the first place, right? If you're not there at all, you can't even have the shot. So at least if you're there, you have the shot. So since I was there, and it was just when it was opened up, it was pretty much, you get to go in if you have your pass. So it's all the permanent vendors, and then there's all the empty spots of people who didn't come, or the spots totally free. So it was at a reasonable point in time, 10 minutes after the official opening, and there was still 200 cars trying to get in, 300 cars. So I was ahead of the line in the sense that I was already in the lot. Okay, so and I think it's easy to get upset. Oh my God, it's my spot. You know what? Freak it. Figure out how to work it through. Don't get known to be fighting with everybody and stuff, even if you're right. Okay? A thing about being righteous is you need to be right. But sometimes it's not worth it. It's just not worth it. If it was later and I was trying to sell something super important today or something, I may have argued with them. But what I found in the past, the thing to do is just find security. Don't even negotiate with the other vendor. And by the way, this is part of what you're paying your fee for. Okay? So calmly walk over to security, say this guy has my spot. Either I'm confused or the guy has my spot and I don't know why. I want to stay out of it. And sometimes, like at the Meadowlands, they'll say, go away and we'll talk to them, which I think is a valid thing. Otherwise, it gets too heated. It's emotional, blah, 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 blah. Okay? So that's a good rule of thumb anyway with these markets, is just calm down. There's another day, and most people are going to walk up and down every aisle anyway. That said, there are better spots. Don't get me wrong. But if it's between getting no spot and getting a poor spot, then the poor spot is clearly better. Yeah, Periscope is messed up. It says I have 0 viewers. That can't be true. I can't get Periscope to do a lot of things. And in the past few weeks that I'm using it, both as a viewer and a scoper, it seems to be degrading worse and worse. So I think Periscope's popularity is killing it. They probably need to get more servers. They probably need to make the software somehow more efficient. I don't know what. So it's one of those things because it's a new thing and it's growing probably by leaps and bounds. They need to keep up with it somehow. If you saw my scope from them this morning, Periscope's been crashing on me and other things like that too. So, it comes with the territory. As I mentioned in some other scopes, I'm a geek and I can't count the number of hours I spent trying to get things working communications-wise and so on all sorts of things going back 20, 30 years ago. Now with super fast lines and stuff, but communications is always a pain in the neck. So there's just that to deal with. So we just have to accept it and move on. It's kind of just like I'm talking about with my spot. I'm going to do a YouTube. I'm going to do a scope tutorial on getting Periscope going on the Mac, and then post it on YouTube. And actually, now that I know how it works, I've found out that I can actually Google it. And despite my frustration and stuff about how to do it, it turns out there's actually tutorials on it already. So I'm going to have to find out who originally got the idea, because I don't want it to seem like I'm stealing it or whatever. It was just frustrating that I couldn't find it originally, but now that I know how to do it, I can find it. What I do want to do, though, is before I post it, well, first of all, I need free time. Is I want to see if I can get the right version of Periscope running on the thing in the first place. And what I might do is delete everything and do a run-through again. And of course, it probably won't work for me now, right? And that way, I'll probably do a live scope where it's installed. I have FiOS. I don't know if everybody knows what that is, but it's faster than DSL, so you know what that is. And what I intend to do is just do it live, so it's a whole thing. And hopefully, Periscope doesn't crash through it, so it's not all piecemealed. But the whole thing, now that I know how to do it, is probably a 20-minute endeavor. FiOS is fiber optic cable, for those who don't know. I forget what it stands for, but fiber, I'm not even going to intend to do that. I'm going over the Verrazano Bridge right now. Beautiful view. You can see the Statue of Liberty in Manhattan, New York Harbor. I freak out on this bridge, so I'm not going to, at this split second, lift up my phone and show you what I'm saying. In fact, I should be watching the road, because I'm going to go over, and there's a super nasty turn in a second that goes like more than 306 degrees around. How much is the bridge cost? This direction, nothing. I think the other direction is $16. So there's stuff like that. When we go into Jersey, I think some of you guys probably follow Wholesale Harry. There's all those fees tacked onto it and so on. So it does become a pain in the neck. One thing I do in the morning is I don't take the Verrazano into New Jersey. I go through Manhattan, and I can avoid the toll because there's a toll on the Holland Lincoln Tunnel only in one direction, just like there's a toll here only in one direction. So I can get actually faster to get to Columbus faster, and it's only 5 minutes faster or something by going through Manhattan. And when I get home, I go through here because this is faster coming home this way. And it just so happens that the toll works out to be free going this direction. But now I'm going to hit the Bell Parkway, which usually has traffic. So I'm hoping, since I'm a little bit early, it's 3:45, I might actually be able to avoid the traffic. But I'm looking at it now, and it's tending to creep. Because if I went home through Manhattan right now, it would take me a few hours. The Lincoln and Holland Tunnel entering Manhattan would be a nightmare because there's going to be trucks and everything else and so on. So, getting back to Columbus, so now I finally get the damn freaking spot, and it's still super foggy. So since I have small electronics, it can't get wet. So I chill out for maybe 45 minutes. Still, it's no good. And then I finally get a bagel and eat, and then I finally set up. So it stays foggy for a real long time because there's the line in the sand where you're there to sell, and even if it gets wet, there's not a choice. So it took about till maybe 11:30 for the fog to totally completely break. In the meantime, it's cloudy. It doesn't look like it's going to rain, but because of the fog, it's cloudy. And historically, I don't know why, but I can't sell my stuff under those conditions. I have no idea why. So for me today, economically today was not a good day. And then the clincher was at 1:30 or something, it started raining. I was already packing up because I if you got some of my other scopes, I always watch the radar because my stuff can't get wet. So I was maybe 3/4 packed when it actually started raining. And I put away my canopy last, so really nothing got wet. Not that I put it away. Actually, I do put it away last, but I keep the tarp up, so that was good. And then that was that. So I really didn't do well today. I don't know why. Just all I can say is, from a classic position for me, if it's super cloudy out or it's about to rain, for some reason I don't know why I can't make good sales, no matter what market I'm in. I don't know if it's just the luck of the draw, and I'm being superstitious about it and trying to give it a reason, and it may not have a reason. But I tried everything. I used to fish as a teenager with my brother a lot, and we had a saying which was match the hatch, depending on what kind of fish you were fishing for and what was going on and what bait fish were around and so on. That's the matching of the hatch. So whatever the bait fish was, your lures or something should match it. So we would often try to vary what we were doing. So I tried to do that today. I'm not a hustler per se, nothing at all like Wholesale Harry, which is fine. What he does is perfectly valid approach, and he's obviously successful in it. But I do hawk, and so on. But so I tried hawking. I tried sitting down even. I tried just letting people come over and ask questions. I tried going in the front, bringing people over. Nothing was working today. So the other side of the coin too is it was not the most well attended day, and that often happens too when it's a day where it's supposed to rain. It's actually supposed to rain about right now. It's 3:45 or something. That's when the rain was actually supposed to come, and there was a first wave of clouds that came, which brought the precipitation with them. So, and that's the way it goes sometimes. You have to play it by ear. If nothing else, I'm going to get home. I'll see my kids. I'm actually going to be tutoring some children later on because I do as I put in the other scopes, I do other things. I tutor children in math and English, so I get $100 or something out of that by tutoring two kids or whatever. And it's rewarding in a different way. I enjoy being outdoors, doing the flea market, and things like that, and it's very therapeutic for me. I have a long story behind my career. I used to sell serious equipment at meets in San Diego and Drury. Right. Yes, although I believe San Diego has a giant flea market or something too then. When you're selling again, Saturday. I have a permanent spot at the Meadowlands. And that will be more or less okay. Weather means no sales. Yes. Yeah, and there's a number of different things. We could argue, well, it's St. Patrick's Day. I think that has nothing to do with it. Another thing is that people get paid at a certain time of the month. It's either the beginning of the month or the 15th of the month or whatever. So you could argue they're maybe going to get paid tomorrow. So their money's run out, right? And things like that you don't think about, but they're realistic in reality sometimes. So it depends how you look at it. So from that perspective, if everybody gets paid tomorrow, then I should do well on Saturday. A problem with Saturday is even though we've had good weather and it's still the winter here, it was warmer. But Saturday, I believe, is going to be 45 degrees. Can you show us a little bit of the Meadowland Flea Market? Yeah, I guess I can post it live on Saturday. My daughters should at least, well, I don't know if, I think my daughter's going to be with me. So if they are, I'll have extra free time. If they're not, and it gets crazy, then I don't know. But yeah, I can show it. It's in the parking lot of Giants Stadium, where the Giants play. It's called MetLife Stadium. So if anybody's familiar with an NFL stadium, it's similar to that, and it's in one of the Giant parking lots. There's probably it's split into two parts. There's a used part and a new part, and there's probably about 300 vendors of each. And there's maybe 10 food vendors. So when it's packed, it's a pretty big market. Thousands of people go to it. I think they stopped advertising though. I noticed this around October. One of the women who used to work there, was either fired or quit. And things have gone downhill from there. Because she used to maintain their Twitter account and update their website and so on. And since she left, that's not being done. And I have a feeling that she maybe even was able to get free advertising for them. And often people in positions of authority assume, oh, we don't need to do that. You know what? Coca-Cola advertises. So a flea market should do it. Is it open even during, yes, snowy winter? Yes. It's open every Saturday unless there's super bad weather. So I've been there in giant windstorms, 50-mile-per-hour winds. I've been there. I've been there with the whole parking lot covered in ice and snow. I've been there while it's icing and snowing. So yeah, it's there. And here's the odd thing: not only was I there, but the reason I was there is because people go to it. It's pretty wild. I don't know, and often it's the same people. And the reason to go is sometimes in the winter, the dead of winter, I can make better money than an average spring or fall day. And the reason why is because most of the vendors are not there, and even though there's fewer people, you're capturing that audience. And I found this to be true in other things that I've been involved with sales. So often, you're sometimes even better off going to the small market on purpose. I mean, here's a good example. I think some of the people watching me right now, you've seen Wholesale Harry in action. You guys have only seen him on the video. In real life, it's like, wow, this guy's, it's unbelievable what he can accomplish. So imagine he went to a small market. he would just destroy them. I mean, like total destruction. They wouldn't even know how to handle them or what to do. And that's the dynamics involved in a lot of this stuff. So I'm kind of sensationalizing about using him as an example. But if you went to a smaller common market, you could capture it just by being mildly, into your sales. Because otherwise it's just this nice homey place. And I found that to be true in other things I do. Especially if it's involving an audience of some cultural perspective. I don't mean cultural in the sense of religions or races or something, but if they're like a club, they're all have the same mentality and the same thought. You have, in many cases, a total captive audience. So it'd be like going to a ham radio club and offering them CB radios or something, right? That's you're right there. You're at the horse's mouth, right? So and often that mouth is not always clear to most people. That it's right there. Hey, that mouth's there. So you may only have 100 people, but they're willing to empty their pocketbooks to you completely in some cases. And I've experienced that, in particular with computer software. I was able to sell a lot of items. I'm going to keep things generic about that, but with the Amiga and the Atari, even though they were smaller markets compared to, say, Windows and Apple and stuff, and I may not have the history of all the history in a linear fashion that I'm explaining here, but these were people who were tinkerers and they're hobbyists, and they were die-hard nerds and stuff like that. So they were the better audience, and I was able to sell more product to them than a Windows audience because it was too saturated and other things like that. So don't throw niche markets, or niche, depends how you say it. I think both are valid. Don't throw niche markets out the window. Yeah, Amiga fans are the best. Actually, I still think they're around. Yeah, the Amiga was interesting. I had an interesting relationship with the Amiga software development team as well. Anyway, that's for something totally else. So the moral of that story is, don't throw things out the window. And sometimes off-the-wall ideas is exactly the idea you need. And in fact, a motto I've used for my whole life is be different, right? Apple has stuff like think different. I say just be different. And if you think different than other people and you are different than other people, then you stand out. Okay, you can stand out awkwardly sometimes, and you can stand out like a sore thumb where people reject you. But if you're yourself and you figure out a valid angle, often it works out. And you find often that there's people me tooing you. Oh, he did that. We're going to do that too. And often, if you don't catch yourself, you can be outdone in your own thought, and then it's gone. It's too late. Some of it creates a fad. You can create little fads in your areas, and some of it's a bigger picture. We can see it with all the big technical players and stuff going on now. Samsung's copying a lot of Apple stuff, and Apple copy a lot of everybody else's stuff, and things like that. And it's just a matter of who's going to do the best economic solution at the time. So, anyway, that's what happened to me at the flea market today. I'm not really pleased with today, but it wasn't a total loss. I did make money. I didn't count it because I'm annoyed. I never went to the office to rectify about my spot because I'm annoyed. And I'll just play that by ear anyway. It's not the end of the world, as I said. What else can I say at the Meadowlands, since you guys are asking about that? By the way, Columbus is also a 12-month market. Although Columbus will close more. Columbus has small aisles and stuff. So, what was that electronic place out there? Crazy Eddie's. Oh yeah, that was from a while ago. His thing was, I'm Crazy Eddie, I'm insane, right? It was pretty funny stuff. You know, he ended up getting arrested because he embezzled money and sent it to Israel or something. And the whole premise of his company was built on deception. But sometimes that's what you have to do. Yeah, that was really big, I guess, in the 80s. He made a fortune with the stupid shtick. Yes, he did. Oh, yes, he did, but he lost it as well. I don't think he also did as good as people think he did. Because I remember reading stories about how he made television sales, wholesale or whatever, by putting empty boxes around in a circle with the center with nothing in them, and most of the boxes actually just being completely empty, and then taking the person over and opening a box up as if the whole thing had like 10,000 TVs all over the place. Oh yes, good example of being different. Absolutely. And he stood out, and he was well known, and he had stores all over the place. I guess it's the equivalent. Actually, I don't know. Is there PC Rigids in other cities? Nothing to do with his practices, right? PC Rigids is a family-run business that's similar, and it's good to have a shtick. It does make you different, and it's part of what I do too. Like I will try not to sell stuff that other vendors are selling on purpose, so that we're distinguished. First of all, other vendors, I don't know why they get mad and jealous and ridiculous, but I don't want to jump on the Me Too bandwagon. There's enough. I mentioned in the scope. There's enough products out there that everybody can plan a good path. And what I find at the flea markets is there's such a diversity of different things that people already sell, that and absolute junk people will buy. That come up with another idea. That's what I think. And the guy who's going to Me Too it is really hurting him or herself, because they can make themselves individuals too. So, all right, I'm in a traffic jam, but I'm by, where am I? Just past Coney Island or Sheepshead Bay. Anybody knows where that is? This is probably the beginning of the rush hour. Yeah, it's 4 o'clock. Some people are also picking up their kids from school and things like that. So, all right. Well, I mainly just wanted to bop on and explain what you'll be selling on Amazon at some point. Do you think? I used to sell on Amazon, and I probably will resume it. I had stopped selling on eBay for about 2 years and got back into it recently, and I'm probably halfway there with eBay. So when I get that to some extent, I'm gonna branch out to other things as well. I'm most likely gonna go on Amazon. I think Amazon, I'm trying to remember, was a pain in the neck with the payments, and I think at some point they were demanding from me that I had to use barcodes for all items. Most of my stuff is generic. I get it from China. It's not. Even if it's a brand name, it's a Chinese brand name. And by the way, there are Chinese brand names of good quality electronic products, like Bluetooth and things like that. In fact, there's probably more of them sold than some of the stuff that's sold here, just by virtue of there being so many Chinese. We like to think English is so prevalent, but if there's such a large number of people speaking Chinese, then Chinese is prevalent too. So in the Chinese marketplace, or the Asian marketplace, I should say, there's lots of different products that we're totally unfamiliar with. There was just one I was thinking of the other day, because they were trying to enter the U.S. market. But yeah, I'll be on Amazon. I might also branch out to Craigslist There's Wallapop stuff and things like that too. I was also on what's the name of that site? Envy It or something, which is originally where I derived the envy this stuff from. Barcodes are very easy. If I can help you, yeah, I know, but it's just a matter of just having to give it one. Seems just silly. But I do sell some stuff with barcodes, and the dynamics of what I sell has changed since I left Amazon and now that I'm back to eBay. For instance, I was originally able to sell one cable at a time on eBay, and I sold tens of thousands of them. This was not 2 years ago, but say 7 or 8 years ago. Because cell phones were new at the time, and people didn't even know they could purchase a cable there or what the cable was, and things like that. So, and the competition arrangement was different. This was, at one point, I don't know if you know, eBay only allowed auctions, right? And then it was the buy it now stuff and so on. So now I don't know what the ratio of buy it now to auctions are, but now it seems eBay doesn't want small sellers. They want high-end sellers. For instance, like the people who do the what's the daily deal thing called there? They have to go through certain training or meet sales minimums and so on. They don't what? Oh, I think you're agreeing with me. Right. So, and there's a whole, and they aren't coy about it. No, they're not. So there's a whole kind of business plan that eBay seems to have that's super negative, which is that so for argument's sake, it cost me $2.35 to send somebody an empty 1 ounce envelope, right? Because you need a tracking number, right? So the Chinese can make the same order I have for the cable, right? For 99 cents. It can be shipped to the United States, including the damn cable, for 99 cents. I can't mail it to my next door neighbor without paying $2.35 for starters. And then there's the eBay fee on top of it, the PayPal fee on top of it. There's the cost of the bag. There's just all the purchase of the product. So can you imagine this selling a cable for 99 cents and somehow claiming to make a profit? Right. So it's very hard to compete. So if I include the same cable, I have to charge I think it's $6.75 or something. And that's absurd. So the dynamics are completely upside down, and eBay clearly seems to be favoring that group of people. And in fact, if I'm not mistaken, eBay was involved in getting the e-package deal set up with the United States government, which I think is between the Chinese government and the U.S. government, which allows them to send it to the United States for that kind of ridiculous fee. So it's bad enough with competing, on a level of imports and exports, but they're being completely facilitated, and allowing them to send us a product here basically for free, and it undermines all the small businesses in the United States, especially since we're buying our products from them. Right? It's the same cable. There's no way to get another cable. I've tried super hard to get my stuff sourced from American-made companies, and as long as I'm in electronics, it seems like I can't do it. I have an interesting story with the flash drives. I sold thousands of flash drives on eBay as well, and the funny thing of the story is that I purposely went to find a company who was making them in the United States. Yeah, don't I love fair trade? Exactly. And there was this company in San Jose, Super Talent actually is the name of it, and I found on their website that it claims they had some factories in California. So I figured, oh, this is cool, because even if they get some parts of it from China, there's a factory here and they're making themselves. So I called them up, and yes, sir, we're an American company, and we make everything here. So I'm buying flash drives from them for like 9 or 10 months, and this is going back a few years ago. So let's say it's 2010 or something. I don't know what year it was. Right, and they have good products actually. It's the flash drives are excellent. So it was one January, about January 15th, and I get an email from the person I normally deal with there, and they say like, you have to send your order in the next week, or you won't get it till March. So I'm like, why is that? And they're like, China closes for the month for New Year's. So I kind of knew China closed for a couple of weeks or whatever, but I was like, how does that affect you? And they're like, they make the flash drives. So I'm like, no, they don't. You told me you had a factory here. And long story short is they lied to me. So that's not nice. And here I was thinking I kind of, as time went on, had hints of it, because there didn't seem to be any Americans working in the company and stuff like that. But that's easy to make stereotypical conclusions about. So anyway, this confirmed it. And I did actually have to put an order in at the time. Yeah, it is sad. What is even doubly sad was, I don't know why they had to lie to me. Because and I spent a few months researching it. And they were really the only company I could find that was claiming to be an American company. And just don't claim that. As bad as the import-export situation might be, why do you need to lie and tell me that? So that's my story, and it's almost laughable at the end, because it is so sad. And their response really was like, so, and what do you do at that point? Do you go to another company and say you guys are not honest? And it's just greed. It's just corporate greed. So I'm in it to make money too. Are those drives you mentioned having scads if left to sell? Yes, there are some of the drives. I was doing so well with it, I bought too many of them, and then the price of memory tanked, and it never really bounced back out. In fact, I'm not even following the price of memory anymore. So, and they're excellent drives. The ones I have left, I sold a lot of the swivel ones, and I had ones with caps on and stuff. The ones I have left are all the leather drives, which were the more expensive ones. So it kind of sucks, but I'm just gonna have to sell them at a loss. I've been holding on to them, hoping I could get a good price, but that's unrealistic, because I've had them, I don't know how long, 5-6 years or something now. So. And somebody will take them off of my hands. So the way to look at it is, if I don't know what the number is, if I have 2,000, whatever, if I have X dollars in drives, flash drives, I have to take a loss. So I can either keep it and have that money just locked up, not doing anything, or I could take the loss and sell it and have the money available. So at this point, the second thing seems to be the better choice. I don't know. I have a whole bunch of speakers that I did that with too. I bought a bunch of speakers to do a major trade show. Yeah, the ship definitely sailed. I have a bunch of speakers. I did a trade show in Oregon, which was a really stupid decision I made. It was relating to a nerd convention. And historically, most of my sales are being sold to nerdy people or younger people. So I decided to do that. I ended up with too many of them left over, and that kind of had its own long story too. I had a ship directly from China to the convention center in Oregon, the Oregon Convention Center, and the packages all got lost. And then they finally found them. They were in the next room, which had nothing to do with the conference we were at. And then At the end of the conference, now I have too much merch because I didn't sell it. No, I didn't sell enough of it, at least. And I have to ship it back to New York City from Oregon. And so the people there suggest, the best company in the world is to use, what is it, YTC or something? One of these light shipper truck companies. And basically what you do is, luckily at least I had a small printer with me, because I was actually shipping eBay orders from the convention center as well. So I did shipping labels to send them back to me, and you just basically leave it on the convention center floor, and you hope somebody picks it up finally. So that did happen. So then it just gets missing. It's gone for weeks. In the meantime, I want to sell the stuff going back when I get home. Won't be doing that again, will you? Oh, not at all. So finally, I get a call from the trucking company saying I owe them money. And the reason I owe them money is because it's being sent to my house. And the reason that's so is, and if anybody is shipping, for instance, Federal Express and so on, they have this distinguishment between residential and business addresses. First of all, I live off a main street, which is a couple of blocks from a main highway, and there's businesses on my block requiring tractor-trailer trucks and so on. So even though I'm at a residence, it's really a business area. So there's an argument, and they claim that it's just not zoned there, and that's the end of that. And I had to pay something like $500 more, and this is on top of like $2,300. So they have my stuff hostage. They won't tell me where it is. Finally, I get them to waive half of it, I think. And they even at the end, they still try to bill it to me. So they won't deliver it when I'm going to be home. And finally, they deliver it, and they leave it all on the sidewalk, out in the street in New York City. This is Queens, but still. So I'm like calling my daughter up, like, go outside. The boxes are all sitting there. I'm not going to be home for a few hours. And it was just a comedy of errors. So I still have those speakers. There's probably about 1,000 of them. Basically, if you don't have a truck docking, you pay the resident. Yes. And the joke at the end of that was that they told me I could come and pick it up myself after I finally paid half the fee or whatever. And it was 10 giant boxes. And I still had the Tucson then, and there's no way to do it. It would probably take me 5 trips, 2 boxes at a time or something. Because I just had this total grand delusion of how much I was going to sell at this convention. And that was an epic failure. Totally epic failure. Yeah, lovely. These are things you get to look back on. Mistakes are important in business. Not that you want them to happen, but they teach you lessons. And there's nothing like a good damn lesson. I think I had $7,000 or $8,000 worth of merch shipped to the convention center. I sold only like $1,500 worth of it. It cost me $2,000 something to send it back, plus the what kind of speakers, plus the fee. So it was a super expensive thing. And by the way, the intent of it was to pay for the trip to the convention center, because me and my children are nerds and stuff like that. It was a BL02 speaker. Is anybody familiar with a BL02? I doubt it. Which is very similar to an SD10 speaker. It's one of these round. You know what? I think I have one in my bag. I could probably show you, because I sell the SD10 speakers as well. Let me try to feel around and see if I can feel it. I got my bag packed with stuff. So what I do is charge these speakers up each time. Let me see if I can find it. Anyway, while I'm trying to look for it, it's a little Bluetooth speaker. And it might be on the top, because I would have put it on the top there. Nah, I can't find it. By the way, this is a Bluetooth speaker. This just little chump is excellent. This is one of my better selling speakers. I have stuff like that. Let me see if I can find it. I sell solar chargers. Excellent thing. I charge the speakers when I'm out there too as well. I have a little cheaper one. Nice sound. It gives a little tinny sound. It's excellent for playing Beatles songs. Super duper excellent. This is a Z12. These were popular at one point. They seem to have fallen out of fashion. They're kind of antique, but I still have a few left. I have little tiny Beat equivalent things. This is a good seller too. It lights up. A lot of these have FM radios as well. Let's see, where the hell is that speaker? I just bought some nuts at the market. You guys are going to be seeing everything. Some nice cashews. Ah, here it is finally. This thing. Can you see that? That's your SD10. Probably says it on there somewhere. And it has a nice little bass sound. So I probably will. This is the SD10 itself. The BLO2 is almost exactly like this, but with a better battery and a more strong bass sound. And it really, really is nice. This is a single speaker. There's only one speaker in it, and if I'm not mistaken, it has a it doesn't have a subwoofer, and it doesn't really have a radiator. I'm not sure how to say it, but I think it has a kind of chintzy one, and the BLO2 has a good quality one, so that the sound bounces off from the bottom and goes into something like that. By the way, that's why this one is an excellent speaker. This little shape thing? This is a little subwoofer. Can you see it moving around in there? And the bass of this is wild, totally wild. And the speaker quality itself is excellent. So it can really play some great stuff. Sold on TV as the Mega Boom. This one is the Mega Boom, or the other one is? Which one's the Mega Boom? By the way, I'm off the highway now and about 5 minutes from home. So when I get home, I'm gonna shut down. So what I do is I bring those speakers home every time and charge them up overnight so they're ready the next day. And I also charge and I also got a giant piece of taro cake. This is half of what's left. I couldn't bring myself to eat the whole thing because I don't know how healthy it really is. But I wanted to get out of there today. I have other stuff to do today before I start tutoring the kids and so on. Actually, if I can, I'm going to try to send out some eBay orders. I don't know if I'm going to be able to pull it off. It's 4:22. The post office closes at 5. That's the whole other thing. That becomes chasing your tail on a lot of stuff. So that's what a lot of things are about. I can't see the screen anymore. I have to try. Yeah, I do too. Because I'm 5 minutes from home and I'm exhausted. I'm trying to think of what I need to do. So, all right, guys. Yeah, have a better day, and that's the moral of really why I posted the scope. Every day is not going to be perfect. You're going to run into problems, and the thing is to remain calm and learn from it. That's all. And things balance out. There's days that go so well you can't believe it. So the balance is days are average, So it balances out. You have some really horrible days and some days you can't believe they're so good. All right, guys. Peace out. Take it easy. Have a good day, guys.